Hello everyone, Berserkhead here, and welcome to my series called Total War Mod Review, in which I review many different mods for the games of the Total War franchise. I was thinking of reviewing an Empire Total War mod since I've done that only once, but then I realized that I'm not familiar enough with the game, plus I couldn't find any mod that particularly sparkled my interest, so I stumbled upon this mod for Medieval 2 Total War called Wrath of the Norsemen. As a huge fan of the Vikings, I was very excited to play it, and for the most part the mod didn't disappoint. Anyways, let's get to the actual review, shall we? I'll start with the advantages. As you may expect, the mod is set during the Viking Age, or more accurately between 785 and 1050 AD. In the Grand Campaign, you will be able to play as a total number of 17 different Baltic and Scandinavian tribes with their own unique banners, units, buildings, and territories. The map is also one of the mod's biggest advantages. Although it roughly covers only Scandinavia and the Baltic, it is still huge. You won't believe how detailed it is. On top of that, almost everything is retextured. Forests look great, settlements look great, and even the tradable resources. They look completely different. Some of them now look like little villages, and they make sense. For example, you can find fishing villagers near the sea, or you can find tradable wood almost in every single forest. The armies and generals also look completely different, and pretty much only diplomats, princesses, and traders are not retextured, but they still have different colors and don't look similar to the vanilla ones. Speaking of reskinning and retexturing, you cannot find any of the units from the vanilla on the battlefield, and the unit texturing is amazing. It's just so detailed, and I think it's even better than the original one. There is also a reasonable amount of units in this mod. It's not like every faction has absolutely unique units, but there are still enough of them. Combine the amazing looking units and the good amount of variety, and there is no way you're not gonna enjoy the battles. But what I like about this mod in general is that it's very atmospheric. The way everything looks and the fact that you cannot see anything from the vanilla makes the mod feel like a game on its own. And the soundtrack adds to this feeling as well. The tracks from the Britannia campaign seem to be very appropriate for this mod. The thing that I like about the mod the most is probably the fact that it's extremely easy to install. I was able to play it just 5 minutes after I decided to download it. It's as simple as it gets. You download a .rar file, you extract it to your mods folder, you run the launch file, and there you have it. And the last thing that I want to mention in the advantages is probably something that not many people would appreciate. I love the fact that most of the factions, settlements, and units have their historically accurate names. I mean, don't get me wrong, I hate when modders take themselves too serious and write things in old languages to the point where it gets confusing, but this is not the case with Wrath of the Norsemen. And now it's time for the disadvantages, but since this mod is currently in beta, don't expect me to bash on it. Instead, as a person who's played a good amount of mods, I'll try and give some tips to the people who will work on the mod in the future. First thing, reduce the scale of the map. Don't get me wrong, I like the fact that the map is so huge, but there are just not enough things on it to justify its size. Don't reduce it too much, but just try and make it a little bit smaller. Then add custom textures for the settlements. Not that it's a big problem or anything, but these settlements don't look Scandinavian at all, plus there are not any castles or particularly big cities on the map, so there should be a little bit more variety. And the last thing that I think should be worked on some more is the economy. I love the idea behind the new economy and I think it's simply great, but it should be polished a little bit. My problem with it is the fact that it's very hard to keep your money balance positive at the beginning. Once again, I'm not criticizing the new building tree, I love it, but just try and change things around. I think the problem comes from the fact that the unit upkeeps are too high and there are not many good sources of money in the beginning, and as a result some factions start losing a few thousand florins each turn. Also, if you try to fix that by raising the taxes, your settlements will not be able to grow and you won't be able to get access to better buildings, which again is very problematic. Now that I'm done with reviewing the advantages and giving my tips, let's see what grade will Wrath of the Norsemen receive. I give this mod 9, and I'm not influenced by the fact that it's about Vikings. The mod is certainly going the right way, but it needs some extra balancing, polishing, and bug fixing. If the future modders do these things and add everything that was mentioned on the forums in the full version of the mod, I'll definitely revisit it and probably give it a 10. Anyways, this was my review of Wrath of the Norsemen mod for Medieval 2 Total War. Hopefully after watching this video you'll be able to decide whether to download and install the mod or not. You can find the download links in the description as well as the link to the forum page of the mod. My name is Berserkhead and I hope you liked the video. See you next time, goodbye.